Hello, friends, and welcome to the conclusion of the Kids in Miss Coolman's class, Snow War. So, we just read a chapter that things were getting really heated with the Snow War, and the kids were not being nice to each other. They were destroying each other's snow forts, stealing snowballs. One of the kiddos threw an ice ball and it hit poor Ian's cheek and knocked out his loose tooth. They're stealing snowflakes that they're making for their carnival out of desks and destroying them or hiding them. And Ian just wants to read and relax, and he decides, you know what? I'm going to just have fun on my recess. I'm going to ignore everyone. And he asked to take a plastic cafeteria tray outside and he went sledding, and it made the other kids smile. So let's see if things get better. This is chapter 13, Apologies. Ian, Omar, and Chris took turns flying down the hill on the tray. Hey, Brian. Hey, Brain. Was that your idea? Ricky asked. He joined the boys at the bottom of the hill. It was Ian's idea, replied Chris. Oh, well, can I try it? Maybe we should get another tray, said Omar. Get two more. We want to try too, said Nancy. The three musketeers had joined the boys. A bunch of the other girls were watching nearby. In the end, Mr. Morton gave the kids in Miss Coolman's class 6 more trays. The kids spent the rest of recess flying down the hill. When the bell rang, they stacked the trays by the door to the cafeteria. Then they lined up to go inside. Ian, said Audrey while they were waiting, I am really sorry I threw that ice ball at you. I did not mean to hit you, you know. I know, said Ian, and I should not have thrown it anyway. It could have hurt Ricky or whoever it hit, but I did not think about that. I was too mad. It is okay, said Ian. My tooth was going to come out soon anyway, and the tooth fairy gave me double since it was knocked out. I got $2. Now I have almost enough to buy another book about the Xers. They are my favorite books. Hanny, said Terry, I am sorry I threw a snowball at you. I threw the first one yesterday, so sorry. It is okay, replied Hanny. Then she smiled again and said, Oops, missed one. It is okay, replied Hanny. Leslie tapped Bobby on the shoulder. I am sorry I smashed in the side of your fort, she said. Ian began to feel better. He was grinning. So was Audrey. So were Hanny and Terry and Leslie and Bobby. By the time the kids returned to their classroom, they were all smiling. Ms. Coolman smiled back at them. Well, she said, what is going on here? You look awfully happy. Ian had a good idea, Sarah told her. We went sledding on trays on the playground today. Miss Coolman, said Audrey, I told Ian I was sorry I threw the ice ball at him, and I am sorry. Ian was not part of the snow war. No, said Leslie. We got mad at Ian, but nothing was his fault. You know what? Spoke up Karen. I did not really want to be mad at everyone, especially not over the silly forts. So I should say I am sorry to Bobby and Ricky and Omar and Hank and Chris and Leslie and Audrey and Tammy and Terry and Janny. We were not just mad at the other groups, added Ricky. After yesterday, we were all mad at each other. And at you, Miss Coolman, said Natalie. We are sorry. I accept your apology, said Miss Coolman. Ian sat at his desk and waited. He was waiting to hear Miss Coolman say the thing he thought she should say. When she did not say it, Ian raised his hand. Miss Coolman, he began, I think something is not fair. I think it is not fair that you told the whole class we could not go to the carnival if the snow war did not stop, because I was not part of the snow war. Plus, I got hurt. Ian, you are right, agreed Miss Coolman. That was not fair. I was not thinking. I guess I got mad. I got as mad as the rest of you did. I am very, very sorry. She paused. Then she smiled again and said, I do not think we have to worry about the carnival anymore, though, do we? Is the snow war over? Yes, cried the kids in Miss Coolman's class. Chapter 14. Snip, snip, snip. Now that the snow war was over, the kids in Miss Coolman's class could think about their snowflake booth again, and they had a lot of work to do. We need to build the booth, said Miss Coolman. Maybe some of your parents could do that. Then we will paint it. We will have to finish our snowflakes, of course. Also, we must think up fortunes to write on them, and we need to go shopping for the prizes. Karen raised her hand. My stepfather is a carpenter, she announced. I bet he would help build the booth. Miss Coolman called some of the parents after school. 4 of them decided to help Karen's stepfather build the booth in his workshop one Saturday. Meanwhile, in school, the kids worked on the snowflakes. We have only 2 weeks until the carnival, said Miss Coleman one morning. I think that for part of every day we should divide into 2 groups. Half of you will cut out snowflakes. I will help the rest of you think of fortunes and write them on the snowflakes. How does that sound? But I want to make snowflakes and write fortunes, cried Tammy, not just one or the other. Then the groups can switch, Miss Coleman replied. On the first day, Ian was part of the group writing fortunes. He and 7 other kids joined Miss Coleman in the back of the room. I do not know what to write, said Natalie. How do I know what is going to happen to people? How can I tell their fortunes? Natalie, we are not really telling fortunes, are we, Miss Coleman? Said Karen. We will just make things up. The fortunes could be silly, added Omar. Like, be careful, you might kiss a frog today, said Leslie. The kids giggled. How about do not bend over when you are wearing a dress so people will see your underwear, suggested Audrey. Not too silly, said Miss Coleman, but she was smiling. Also, remember that we have to be able to write the fortunes on the snowflakes, and there is not a lot of room, so keep the fortunes short. I know, said Ian. How about smile and someone will smile back at you? How is that? Perfect, said Miss Coleman. So the kids wrote fortune after fortune, and they snipped away at their snowflakes. Miss Coleman collected the new snowflakes in a box on her desk every day. The box was big, and it was getting full. One day, Miss Coleman said, Class, we must shop for the prizes soon. We do not all need to go to the store, but 5 or 6 of you could come with me. We will go tomorrow after school. Sarah's mother has agreed to come along and help out. Anyone who is interested in shopping tomorrow, talk to your parents tonight to see if you may go. The next afternoon, Miss Coleman, Miss Ford, Sarah, Ian, Nancy, Ricky, and Audrey went to the toy store in Stony Brook. Miss Coleman brought along $40. When they arrived, she said, Remember, 10 prizes, $4 each. Okay, let's see what we can find. The kids found so many great prizes that they had trouble choosing 10. They found art supplies and games and outdoor toys. They found some small stuffed animals and some dolls and trucks. At last, Miss Coleman said, Okay, kids, just 5 more minutes to choose. So they had to choose. That weekend, the parents built the booth. On Sunday, the kids painted it. They were almost ready for the winter carnival. Chapter 15, final chapter, the winter carnival. The winter carnival was to be held on Saturday. On Friday afternoon, the students at Stony Brook Academy set up their booths in the gym. When the kids in Miss Coleman's class peered into the gym, Sarah gasped. It is so crowded, she exclaimed. And it was. Kids and teachers were everywhere. They were hammering and taping and cutting. They were taking things out of boxes. They were putting things on the walls. They were coloring in signs and setting out prizes. Our booth is back here, said Miss Coleman. Karen's stepfather drove it here this morning. The kids looked proudly at their booth. They had painted it bright blue. Then they had painted huge snowflakes on the background. Now they got busy tacking snowflakes to all the walls inside their booth. They tacked them up so that the fortunes did not show. Then they displayed the 10 prizes on a table in the booth. And finally, they hung up their sign. The sign on the front of the booth read, Buy a snowflake, just 50 cents. Read your fortune or win a prize. Ian grinned. He thought the snowflake booth was the best one at the carnival. He could not wait until the next day. When Ian and his parents and Chip arrived at the carnival on Saturday morning, Ian could not believe his eyes. Overnight, the teachers had changed the gym into a winter wonderland. Big snowflakes and snowballs hung from the ceiling. Along the walls were murals with snow scenes, and the mess from the day before was gone. And in its place were all the booths, tidy and ready for the day. 2 tables full of refreshments had been set up. At other booths, things were for sale, crafts and secondhand toys and clothes. Cool, said Chip. Ian could tell he was impressed. I have to work at our booth first, said Ian proudly, for an hour. Then I get to walk around and play games and stuff. We will meet you at your booth in an hour then, said Mr. Johnson. Ian joined Miss Coleman and Chris at the snowflake booth. The gym was starting to fill up. People wandered around. Kids decided which games they wanted to play. The first person to buy a snowflake was Mrs. Titus, the principal. Her snowflake had a fortune. The fortune read, All your dreams will come true. How lovely, said Mrs. Titus. The first person to win a prize was a girl from Mr. Ponser's kindergarten class. She turned her snowflake over and she sounded out the word prize. Prize, she shrieked. I want a prize. She chose a truck that would flip over if it bumped into a wall. Thank you, thank you, thank you, she said. This is the best prize I've ever won. I have never won a prize before. When the hour was over, Ian's family met him and Chris. They walked around the carnival together. Ian played the ring toss and won a wind-up gorilla. Chris won a mini frisbee. They each bought a baseball cap at the used clothing table for just 10 cents apiece. Then Chip said, "Try the brownies, they are excellent." So Ian and Chris each bought a brownie. Finally, it was time to go home. After the Johnsons dropped Chris off at his house, Chip pulled something out of his pocket. He handed it to Ian. "I bought this at a second-hand booth for you," he said. Ian looked at it. It was the next book about the Xers. "For me?" he said. "Thanks." "Sure," said Chip. Ian and Chip grinned at each other. Ian could not wait to get home so he could start his new book. That's the end of Snow War.